I'm Raven Havok, and I've been drinking at Moe's.
All right, everybody, taking time out before we get this show started. I want to thank Reaper Apparel for having Drinkin Mo's be a brand ambassador for their clothing line. They got good stuff. They got t-shirts, they got hoodies, they got beanies, they got lots of great stuff, encouraging everybody to break out of their comfort zone, live their best self, and hey, it's something I try to live every day. Now, be sure when you go and you're finishing filling out your order, use the code Drinkin at Moe's, get 10% off, and the link and the code will both be in the description. Let's fucking go. Everybody, welcome. It's Big Mo here. You know the YouTube, like, subscribe, all that good shit, because most of that pain in the algorithm over there on YouTube, where most places you can audio podcast with your favorite major one. Anyways, today I'm excited to have with me somebody that may be the deathmatch I am. I know, like a lot of people, I've gone to YouTube and searched deathmatch wrestling, and this man, more than not, has been a guy that has popped up a hell of a lot in those searches. Raven Havok, how you doing?
I'm good. You overhyped me a little bit.
I gotta say, I am telling the truth that, like, most of the time I go and I search deathmatch wrestling, I'm more often than not guaranteed to find something involving you. So
I think my partner Lazarus Black said one time, if you just search deathmatch wrestling on YouTube, I'm the third person that shows up.
Yeah, and you know, it's nice. It's nice dealing with people that, you know, they don't let a lot of that stuff go to their head, because I know I've talked with before we get into the meat of the interview, I've talked with Madman Pondo, and I was calling him, like, you know, like he is a deathmatch legend, and he was, you know, humble, downplaying it. I'm like, dude, when most people think of their Mount Rushmore at deathmatch wrestling, you're on it.
I ain't shit. Let me turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. There we go.
Yeah,
I know
you're good. You're good, man. But yeah,
when you first messaged me, I listened to a lot of your shows one day just so I would have an idea of how things ran, and Pondo was one of them.
Yep. No, he was an entertaining one. I definitely enjoyed that interview. Now,
I'm nobody, man. I've always said that if I did it once and broke my neck, at least I could say I did it, and that's all I ever wanted.
hey, that's a good way to live, because you know what? That actually reminds me of something I heard. It was like, better to live your life and to say, damn, I did that, than to be like, man, I should have done that.
I did it. Everything after that first match has been nothing but a bonus.
Awesome. Now, first thing I like to start off with each of the first time guests. What got you started as a fan, and then what made you finally decide to make the leap into the business?
It's a very generic story, but Fridays, if I had worked enough and had enough money, I would normally go to the skating ring with my friends. And if I didn't, I would stay home. And one week I did not get to go, and I was just flipping through the channels. And I always say I don't exactly remember the time frame, but I know John Cena had just debuted.
Mm. Okay. I don't remember the exact year, but yeah, I know the time frame.
But it was somewhere around there, and they did something with thumbtacks, and I was like, oh, I really like this. And that was like my first exposure to anything in wrestling was like that. Or I saw a
Mm.
clip of, I can't exactly remember, and saved up some money and bought some thumbtacks. And when my parents weren't around, I laid some down and just jumped on them.
All right. And then, you know, when you finally decided to make the leap into the business, how did that exactly come about? Because I know, excuse
Um,
me, I mentioned
as
about
ironic as
backyard wrestling, which a lot of people end up getting their start there.
yeah, we did some backyard stuff because I had a bunch of friends that were into wrestling. And but the real jump was I'm just gonna do backyard wrestling. And as wild as who I am and my belief system has changed, I was at a Christian church camp, and
Mm.
there was a fairly buff African American gentleman sitting by himself, and I said, that's just not right. He don't need to be sitting by himself. So I called him over and said, just come sit with us. And we started talking, and wrestling got brought up, and I was like, yeah, we have this little backyard wrestling thing, and started showing him some pictures. And he went, oh, let me show you something. And he showed me pictures of him training and actually doing shows. And he lived about 50 minutes to an hour away from me. And he was like, next time we're training or anything like that, I'll give you a shout. And from there, it was just off.
Hey, that you know what? That actually seems to be a way I've heard of a lot of people starting. They kind of get going a little bit in the backyard, and then so they meet somebody, they see a flyer somewhere, and then boom, it just off to the races from there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't often. It was like once a month, but it was still a
Something.
foot in the door. And then, I started kind of helping backstage. So I got a little bit more in. I've always said I've never really been properly trained, I guess. I don't know because I didn't go to like a specific school. A lot of it was on the job training, like show up before shows and just listen and talk. And, I drove down to Charlotte a couple times and worked with Eric Adams, like privately, but like as far as who my trainer is, I've got like six.
Yeah. Now, you like we've gone into a little bit, starting from the backyard, and deathmatch wrestling, it kind of has blown up recently, more so recently. I mean, it's always been in the back of my head, but I remember seeing, back in the PlayStation 2 days when, backyard wrestling video game came out, and, that sort of thing happening in the backyards. And now it's on the, big time, stuff over in Japan. You got GCW blowing up, CZW getting back in the swing of things with it. And it's all over the place.
Yeah, it's
Now,
it's got big. And it used to
oh yeah,
be something that was like not talked about. You wouldn't dare consider it.
yeah. No, I remember watching. I want to say it was a GCW show that I was watching, and my mother-in-law walks in, and she's. I remember it like it happened yesterday. She was just like, "Isn't that illegal?" And I was just like, "Just sit down. Just sit down. Just sit down and watch, or just look at your iPad. You don't got to pay attention." But
Oh,
yeah,
I mean, I can even remember 12 years ago, like my first big introduction was I went to tournament at S10,
mm,
but then I was like, no, this is what I want to do. It was so taboo to even be talked about here in North Carolina.
oh, I can imagine. There's a lot of places where it's still kind of taboo to talk about it, but you know, it's out there and it's spreading like wildfire. I know I've been lucky enough to be able to have some pretty great names on the show from the deathmatch community. And it seemed to kind of developed me a little bit of a following there, which I'm extremely proud of. Never would have thought in a million years I would have gotten that. But, you brought up the Tournament of Death. One of my past guests that I didn't put in one of my categories here for the end won the last one, the Bev.
Oh, the Bev?
Yeah, I had him on a while back, and that was another fun one. A little. I took it as a little notch in my cap. Getting to have somebody that has won that tournament.
I haven't had much interaction with him. I think my interaction with him was about 10 seconds one day.
Yeah. But the about with each of my guests that have pulled in deathmatch wrestling is it's like a lot of different forms of wrestling. There's people that support. There's those people, the detractors. Me and some of the bit that I've been able to talk with, including Alex Cologne. I actually have. I'm waiting to get these displayed. Ring worn signed kick pads of his. I'm rather proud of. But getting back on track here, the thing we've talked about is deathmatch wrestling. When it's done good, it's just like regular wrestling, just surrounded by all the deathmatch elements.
Yeah, I literally said it last week at a show. I asked two really young green guys if they were ever going to try it, and they said no, it's not my thing, and I don't think I'll ever do it. And I said, hey, it's cool. You like chocolate ice cream? I like vanilla ice cream.
Yep, no, everybody's got their flavors, and I mean, I've for one been a fan for a while. Seeing the clips of the cage of death and the tournaments of death, and getting into, I think the one of the first shows that I can really remember actually buying was one of the GCW Cage of Survival shows, where it was like, holy crap, this stuff is nuts.
It gets wild.
Yeah, and I mean, you have been in like all sorts of different matches, and the the thing that I found unique in deathmatch wrestling is kind of some of the names that uh, brought up, and the names of different matches that get brought up is, I guess, where I was trying to go there. Like some of the names is just like, how the heck do you come up with that?
Are you referring to just some of the off the wall ones, or like some of the ones that I
Yeah,
created?
some of those off the wall ones. Yeah, some of those off the wall ones. It's just like, holy, how the hell do you come up with that?
Uh, I can give you two stories about two of the matches that have been kind of my creation.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'd love to hear about that. Absolutely.
When we did our, technically it would have been our fourth show. We brought Sage Sin in, and I don't remember how the concept came to me, but I wanted something just off the wall that I hadn't seen nor heard of, and I call it Murder Town Deathmatch. And what it is all of the structures, all the glass, anything that has been built has to be broken before the match can officially start.
Huh. Interesting.
And
That is,
then,
wow. That's something I haven't heard of before.
yeah, that match is on YouTube. I put it up.
I'm definitely going to be looking that up.
So yeah, just Raven Havok and Sage Shin. It should pull up Sinister Wrestling Society. I put it up on our YouTube.
Hey, I'm definitely looking into that one because, like, some of them, it's just like the names are so off the wall, but then you get in there and you're like, me, I get drawn into that intensity, the grit, the just I already said intensity, but that's that style that just oozes that in some of these off the wall matches. It's like, holy crap, I'm loving this. It's
Well,
bloody as
you'll
hell, but
love
I'm
that one,
loving
man.
it.
You will absolutely love that one, man.
I'm
That's probably one of my favorite matches I've done, and it is go from start to finish.
well, I am definitely going to be watching that. Now, another thing I also like to ask is, what do you think it takes to be in death matches? Because I mean, we've kind of said, being in deathmatch wrestling, it's when it's done right, it's like regular wrestling, just with surrounded by the elements. But it's a whole different animal, regardless.
Very much. What does it take? I don't know for everyone. Maybe it's an adrenaline high because it very much is. Um,
Yeah.
I've done some things, but there's no high that compares to a good death match that I've been in, the one that I'm proud of and happy. There's no high that compares.
Oh,
Um,
I can only
I can't
imagine.
speak for everybody, but I can speak a little for myself. Maybe a little bit of self hatred. Uh,
That wouldn't be the first
but
time that
it's
that
definitely
comment
an
was
intense
made when
high.
asked. Yeah, no, definitely wouldn't be the first time that I've heard that comment when it comes to that question, because kind of like you little bit of that self hatred where you're like just and then you just get that intensity ramped up. But yeah, it's something that I feel like you definitely got to love it to be able to put your body through some of this stuff. Because I mean, a no ring deathmatch show that I went to, I got something here behind me that I guess might be displayed like this, but it's an actual like half of a door that was used in the show and broken. And I just remember my wife telling me when she first saw it, is that blood on there? And yeah, that is.
Hey, people love that shit.
Oh yeah, I personally love it. I've been lucky enough to have some pretty great people on. I the kick pads, the door. I have a wrestling buddy that was sent to me by John Wayne Murdoch. That
Oh, Murdoch.
yeah. Oh yeah. No, nothing but great things to say about him. I it took me just about a year to finally get that interview nailed down, because that guy, and it's no offense, he is a damn machine with the schedule that he keeps. So it took me
Yeah,
a
he
little
stays
bit.
easy. But
Hmm?
I've got nothing foul or bad to say about Murdoch. Every time I've been around him, it has always been a wonderful experience. We were in
Oh yeah.
Kentucky one time, and we staying at a hotel probably 20 minutes away from him, and we had set up that we were going to go out to lunch, and so I swung by, grabbed him. Him and I went and had lunch.
Awesome. Now, out of all of the match types that you've had, what would you say is one, like you mentioned one that you came up with? Is there another one that like you're most proud of, like one that you've come up with or one that you've just participated in?
Um, I'm proud of that I've kind of created, though I haven't do them as I would like because they are very, I wouldn't say intense, but the setup for it is so long. Again, if you go to the
Well,
Sinister Wrestling Society YouTube, you can see the one that Remington Roar and I did on another show we did, and that was As Above, So Below. And actually, my father-in-law came up with that name. We were just trying to figure out what we were going to do, and he said, "Figure out something to do with that." And I just pondered it, and just thought, lost sleep over it, and then all of a sudden, it just came to me. Now, the shitty part about that match is when Remington and I go through the first thing, I fractured my shin, so the rest of the match was fucked.
Oh no.
Put a crack from the
Remington Roar, another. Oh, go ahead.
oh, it was nothing on his fault, nothing. It just happened. He put a crack from my ankle up to my knee, just right up through my shin.
Ow.
Um,
Yeah, that's pretty
if you look
crap right
closely,
there.
you can tell I am fighting with everything in me just to stay on my feet. But we built
Oh boy.
structures that came out. I think they were 6 foot from the ring. Two sides of the ring had um, extremely thick cattle wire on it, and then the other sides had structures that were built off
Mm.
of the ring. And you can go and just see the how disgusting it looks. It was nothing on Remington. It was that match was planned to be so much more violent than it really was, but I could not stand.
I can only imagine from the description. And yeah, I will definitely be watching. And hell, I'll even provide a link to it in the description. Other people can go ahead and watch because you brought up Remington Roar, another one of my actually more recent guests that I've had on. Great dude, loved getting to talk to him.
Love Remington. I have publicly said that is my deathmatch boyfriend, and I will continue to say that publicly out loud.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. He is intense. I love it, and hey, it's all good there. Now, I have two categories that I kind of like to round stuff off with the show here. First one's a bit of a name game where I name off some people that you've shared a ring with, shared a locker room with, and you give me some quick thoughts on the person. And first one, and you know what? Coincidentally, all of these guys have either been a former guest of the show or there's one that's I've yet to record with. So they're in one way or another, they've also all been guests of the show. First one, Brad Cash.
Love, hate at the same
Anything
time.
else to say about him? Oh, yeah.
Well, we got some beef going on right now, but for
Oh,
the most part, love Brad. I
oh,
feel
yeah.
like I need to
One
prove
of
a
those.
point, but
Oh, yeah.
love
No,
Brad.
one of those. Yeah. One of those things that I can, you know, family doesn't always get along. There's that little beef here and there, but there's that genuine love and respect there.
It's love and respect, but I got a point to prove with him.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Now we've kind of talked about this next guy, but he's one of my personal favorites right now. John Wayne Murdoch, the Duke of Hardcore.
Nothing ill to say at all.
I I can echo that statement for sure. Not a damn bad thing to say about him. He was understanding when I went through well, let's just say a personal hell, and we pushed it off for a little bit, but then we got right back there and got it done. Nothing but great things to say about him. Next up, a guy that's going to be recording with me later this month, unless we have to reschedule, Neil Diamond Cutter.
Also, nothing bad to say about every interaction I've had with Neil has been wonderful. Um, he's given me a place to stay. when I did not have a hotel. So I can't say anything bad about Neil.
Oh yeah, the interactions I've had with him, just getting the date for recording scheduled, totally pleasant. I all the good things to say in the world about him. And I was just thinking, like, he's been in matches against some people that I know, and when I told them that I was going to be recording with him, they're like, "Oh, damn, I'm going to have to keep my eye out for that one."
Yeah, he's something special. I think he's been underappreciated.
Would definitely be able to say that.
Oh, I think I lost you.
Oh no, but I'm still seeing you.
There we go. Now I can hear you.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah, like I was saying, he he's busy, but you know what? He's taking the time out for me, and I've been a huge fan of his, even all the way through matches that he's had with some of my close personal friends.
Yeah, he's good people. You'll definitely enjoy talking with him.
No, most of that, I'm looking forward to that one. This next one is actually my most listened to episode on the podcast platforms. Satu Jin.
Likes that too. Never
I,
had a bad interaction with him either.
yeah, it's been a while since I've talked to him, but yeah, it was a great episode. I remember, I try to pay attention to the analytics, every so often. And then I just see his episode just boom, the numbers kept climbing and climbing and climbing. I'm like, oh damn, okay.
Oh,
So, oh,
I see
what?
what's going on. I'm sorry. So somebody was trying to call me in do not disturb mode and it muted you.
Oh, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. But yeah, now I have some random questions. Some might be wrestling related, some might not be. I generally have no idea until I'm putting my notes together. I give you the question, you give me a first answer that pops in your head.
All right.
First one. Excuse me. Craziest in match moment for you.
Craziest in match moment. Probably I was not long in. I would say probably 3 years, and we did a 6-man casket match for a Halloween show. And
Okay.
I don't know, from what I've heard, dude was going through some rough shit at home. I was still green and small, and he picked me up and he was going to powerbomb me outside of the ring onto one of the caskets. I punched him in the face and said, no. The next thing I know is I'm jerked back up and I'm flying through the air over the top, headed towards that casket. I hit the side of the casket. I felt a shockwave run all the way through my body.
Hmm.
Finished the match. Got backstage. I felt like everything was fine. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be bruised, but I'm okay. And I just fucking collapsed.
Oh,
I got taken to the hospital, and I don't know whether people believe in miracles or it was just a freak thing. I asked the doctor what happened, and he said, from what I can tell, you hit something, because I didn't tell him I was wrestling. He said, you fell, hit something, and your spine shifted and then snapped back in place.
oh, oh, God! I thought I have back issues, but goddamn, that's my ow.
Oh, it bruised. I couldn't walk straight for probably 2 weeks.
Wow, that yeah, it would be hard to top that. Most definitely. God dang, I'm
I don't
hurting.
know. As of like recent, the one I had with speaking of Satu, we took one of those YouTubes
Oh yeah.
and I put one on his back, and I did my just step up back senton and broke weird, and it sliced the underbit of my arm, and there's a wicked scar. If we were in better light, I'd show you, but it's every bit of about that big and about that wide. And when I lifted my arm up, all I saw was meat.
Oh yeah.
That one absolutely scared me to death too.
Yeah. That would definitely do it. I haven't been able to witness too many death matches in person. I mean, there was the one that was a no ring death match show, but the first one I ever actually got to witness was actually Jake Chris versus Joel Bateman.
Oh, I've heard you
And
talk about this one.
yep, that one where the four panes of the four chairs and the panes of glass and they lit it on fire.
No, I don't do fire.
Yeah, I remember standing in that crowd. I'm like, oh my fucking god. Yeah,
No
it
fire
was.
for
I don't blame you one bit. Now, this is one I haven't asked this question too often, but lately it's been kind of popping into my head. Who has been the hardest hitter?
oh shit. I was worried it was gonna be Murdoch. Um, dang man. Because if I'm into it, like if I'm super into it, someone I super trust, we'll fucking get into it. Um, I've worked with my partner before against each other, and if Lads and I really get into it, we'll start whacking the shit out of each other. Outside of Laz, Necro probably. Necro chopped me so hard I thought my rib cage and heart came out of my spine.
Ooh, yeah, I've heard he can definitely throw a chop. That's for sure.
I don't know. Cade and I have had some pretty hard exchanges with each other.
Yeah.
So
All right.
probably them.
Okay. Okay. Now this one is one that I like to reserve for the deathmatch guys because I definitely had some interesting answers. What is a weapon you would like to avoid being used in one of your matches if you had the choice?
I've heard a lot of guys say toothpicks, and I have to agree.
Yeah.
Um, but my big rules are I'm not fire, I won't do fire, and I'm not doing scissors.
Okay. Yeah. No, but I don't blame you one bit there. Yeah. But yeah, toothpicks. I think it was Alex Cologne. I think Remington actually even said it. That there's been I've I mentioned close to 200 episodes, so I'm some of my memory on some past episodes is a little fuzzy, but Alex Cologne definitely, without a missing a beat, said toothpicks, and I think it was either Jess Moss or Remington that told me the story once of they were looking through. They saw him looking through weapons to use in a match, and something had a whole bunch of toothpicks sticking in it. Alex Cologne just picked it up, chucked it in the woods, and said, "Fuck that, nope."
Yeah, no, I've done it. Been on shows where they've taken the pool noodles and putting toothpicks on it, and I'm just no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, because you might get lucky and take the whole toothpick out, but you break off the wrong piece, and then it's getting embedded in your skin and infected and shit.
Yeah, I'm too cautious about that because you know I got two kids and a
No,
wife, and it is my responsibility, and I try to do things within reason
no,
because first I am a father, second I am a provider.
no definitely, definitely. You definitely got your priorities where they need to be there. and that I totally respect that. Now, next question, I would feel weird if I didn't have this question in here with the name of a show like Drinking at Moe's. Favorite drink, whether it be alcoholic or non, or one of each, because I've had plenty of people on that, they're straight edge, they don't drink for whatever reason. So I try to be respectful of that.
Um, well, I drink a lot of water throughout the week. That's basically all I'll drink through a week. I only drink soda on weekends, and even then, I try to limit it. But I have found myself in love with Starry.
Okay. Yeah, my wife does enjoy that. That's one that she enjoys.
And if we're going to alcohol, hands down, give me a Angry Orchard about 36 degrees.
Okay. That's a solid choice. I know I've enjoyed I forget who it was that turned me on to adding a shot of Fireball to that, and it tastes like a oh man, it tastes good.
That's more of my wife's vibe, but Angry Orchard, new monster ones that are out aren't too shabby.
I
And
can't say that
of
I've
course,
had those.
I got to throw out a shout out to Low Life Louie. Gave me
Ooh,
my first Four Loco ever, and anytime I see Louie, he's always got a Four Loco for me.
yeah, yeah, but he does love those Four Locos. Another one of my former guests. I remember when he said that he'd do it. You know, thinking a Deathmatch Hall of Famer getting to be on my show. I'm like, this is sweet.
Louie deserves everything. He is truly a heart of gold.
Oh, most definitely. Another person that I got nothing but great things to say about. All right. Now, last but not least, best advice for anybody wanting to get into wrestling.
Don't do it. No, I grew up here in the Carolinas, and the old rule is sit down, shut up, and open your ears. And
that
that has got me further than I ever dreamed. Just sit down and shut up. Take in as much as you can. I know listening to some of the older guys, you're like, oh, they're just old and washed up. Listen to what they have to say
yep.
and take it in. Soak all of it up with a sponge because it will get you places.
Oh yeah. Most definitely. A very good bit of advice, something that gets a common answer on that question. Because, when you're in an environment like wrestling and you're trying to learn something new and you're getting in there, and you got the chance to learn from somebody that's, been there, done that, and is willing to take their time to help you. I mean, hell, like you said, absorb it like a sponge, as you're trying to get in there and, develop your character and figure out how you're going to do things. Take a little bit of something from everybody and just mold it into your own thing.
Absolutely. The one of the kids that um, used to come to the shows where we would run about an hour from where I lived, he started coming super young, and he always told me that he wanted to grow up and do this. So around 14, he started kind of like half-ass training and helping in the back. And then now he's in, and he'll ask me questions, and then I'm great at giving advice. I'm great at thinking of ways to make things make sense and for this to happen and that to happen. But then I go out there and don't even heed my own advice. And he's like, well, you did it and you told me not to do it. And I said, look, just do as I say, not as I do. I'm an idiot. And again, if I would have done this once and that was it, I would have been happy. I still, to this day, even working with people that I know or close friends like Laz or Cade or anybody like that, I'm still shaking before I go out there. It's it's never not been a butterfly moment for me.
Oh, and I'm trying to remember. I think it was actually one of the Road Warriors I heard say this once. It's like having those butterflies is a good thing. It's the when you don't get those before a match, that you might want to start thinking about hanging up the boots.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Laz and I did it. We went to Tennessee, and we've worked what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times with each other, and we've not done nothing that's right in front of us. And I looked at Laz and I went, "Why am I shaking? Well, I'm doing the same thing. We know what we're doing. Why are we still this nervous?"
Yep, no, totally understand you. And yeah, I know the one time I got to be a special guest ring announcer for a friend's match, like when I was behind the curtain before they announced me, I remember just pacing back and forth like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It
I,
was it was something
I do
intense.
it. I do it all the time. The funniest story I have to tell people is the first time I went to Indiana during like the big part of COVID, where there were like 20 people there, and it was being recorded for, I think it was IWTV, but there was like nobody there. And I'm working Alex Ocean. I'm standing there at the curtain. It's not a big crowd, and I'm shaking. I am literally just shaking like I'm in -20-degree weather. And I feel a hand come on my back, and it's Ocean. He goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "No, I'm not." And why are you not okay? Because I'm about to go out here and work you. Like, you're Alex Ocean. I'm nobody compared to you.
Yeah,
It's the same way to this day.
and that, like we said, that's a good thing getting those butterflies. Definitely. Now, before we go, where can people find you social media wise? So if they don't already have their eyes on you, they can go ahead and get them there.
I have a Twitter. I'm not on it. I don't log into it. I don't fuck with it. It's too complicated for me. Um, Facebook is Raven Havok with a K, and I think Instagram is the Raven Havok with a K.
We'll definitely get that in the description. Well, anyways, thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight, and best of luck out there with the deathmatch community. I know you said you had a YouTube. It was remind me again.
Sinister Wrestling Society.
Sinister Wrestling Society. I'll definitely be subscribing there and catching up on some of those matches that you mentioned.
I got to get more up there. Just be patient with me. My life has been very hectic and very busy, so I'm not on socials much. If you message me, I mean, you've seen. Just give me some time, and I'll
Oh,
respond.
oh yeah, no worries there at all. Have a good one.